The Calgary Stampede is the perfect time of year for local and provincial politicians to meet with their constituents, providing a great opportunity for media to catch them in public.
What's your position on vaccine passports for those individuals unwilling to be vaccinated?
Opposed, and we've been very clear from the beginning that we will not facilitate or accept vaccine passports. So these folks who are concerned about mandatory vaccines have nothing to be concerned about, and there will be no vaccine passports in Alberta.
From flipping pancakes to flipping on their word, Rebel News has dominated the breakfast and the Stampede grounds.
I have not done that. No, that's misinformation.
But just in time for a leadership election in the Conservative Party, candidates wouldn't dare miss an opportunity to speak with the thousands of Albertans, which majority lean to the right. On Friday, July 8th, Western Standard hosted a series of fireside talks with leadership hopefuls after adjusting a debate format due to candidates pulling out, or flat out being disqualified from the race. Pierre Poilievre being across the street at a fundraiser, and Les and Lewis already having locked in for another event, left just Jean Charest, Roman Baber, and Scott Atkinson in the crosshairs of Derek Fildebrand, publisher at the Western Standard. Jean Charest surprised everyone in the room. A former premier of Quebec was applauded for his plans to amend equalization, a smothering federal policy on the Albertan economy.
The overarching goal is to provide Canadians with comparable levels of public services across the country through provincial wealth redistribution.
And the idea here is to conclude an agreement on a few subjects. First, equalization. Making equalization fair for Alberta.
Roman Baber, known for being removed from Ontario PC caucus by his principled stance on lockdowns and mandates,
On January 15, I warned the Premier and the public that lockdown is deadlier than COVID.
really left a mark on the Albertans in the room, as the draconian measures arguably led to the resignation of Premier Jason Kenney due to unpopularity.
And there will be no vaccine passports in Alberta.
It wasn't for principle. It was for human lives. The idea was not to compromise lives.
While Scott, not being the most exciting candidate of the race and of the night, stood out most on what he will do for gun control, Alberta having the highest number of firearm licenses in the country.
Freedom is absolutely fundamental to our society, but with freedom comes responsibility. And so in my mind, thank you.
The fireside chats ended, which opened a media pool to ask candidates questions. There were 5 of us rebels, including Ezra Levant, awaiting the candidates.
Identifying misinformation and disinformation and regulating it somehow. Do you believe that's something that the government should do?
That's a challenge. I don't know how you distinguish all the nuances and the shades of information to make a ruling or a decision. I don't know who makes that. So, we live in a world where we're just going to have to work hard to educate people to be as critical as they can and have a critical mind.
Would you rehire public service workers who were fired over vaccine mandates and bring them back and give them back pay?
Well, I would certainly recognize that if we're going to have a public service that's going to work in this environment, much as Quebec did. I thought that was a very telling episode. You end up, and they were very firm. You may not have thought. They were in the news every day saying, this is, you're out of a job. If by this date we're not back, and then full stop, they said, we're not going to do it because we can't perform, we can't allow ourselves to lose these people. And maybe there's other things we can do as a test. I think there's other alternatives.
Roman stepped up next and took a pouncing on the free-for-all.
China is an ally, a competitor, or an enemy?
So I want to be very clear on China. I was raised in a communist regime, and I think that we should not be afraid to confront evil. And you look at what's happening in China today, they are still locking down millions of healthy people. I think that, when we say never again, and the international community should rally in defense of Chinese Muslims that are being segregated into labor camps. And also, China continues to destabilize the world, steal our intellectual property, probably meddle in our elections. I think that it's time for the international community to show some moral clarity on China and be resolute.
Tamara Lich was hauled away and arrested ultimately for taking a photo with a political opponent of Justin Trudeau. What do you make of the authoritarian trend in judicial processes as of late in Canada, particularly in the case of Tamara Lich?
So I think it's no secret that I'm a very big supporter of the freedom movement and the truckers movement. I believe that if there was any discussion of any unlawful conduct, then that could have been properly subjected to municipal bylaws or Highway Traffic Act. However, recognizing that I'm a member of the bar, I'm not allowed to criticize the judicial process. I have to presume that it is fair and independent, and I will remain as such. I will not comment on an individual case, on a criminal case that is before the court for adjudication.
As for Scott, he didn't stay for the questioning period, which had to have been no longer than 15 minutes. All in all, it was anticlimactic. Though Charest was the clear winner of the night's fight to claim the hearts of Albertan conservatives, it still begs the question, which one of you will make it right by the West and make it fair? If you like this coverage, please consider helping out at leadershipreports.ca. Though it's exciting, it isn't free for us to chase around politicians. Your support is appreciated, and it helps keep our leaders honest. Sometimes.
Holy mackerel, I think I see Patrick Brown himself. David Menzies with Rebel News.
You're in a city facility?
Yeah, so are you.
Yeah.
So, are you playing hockey here? Or?
No, I'm just coming to check in our facility.